Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Joe.
Hey, everyone. Sunny here.
And man, am I excited to ring in the new year with all of you.
You are practically buzzing with excitement tonight.
Well, you see, I had a little holiday mishap.
Oh, no.
It's too funny not to share.
Okay.
Picture this. I'm in the kitchen feeling all festive.
All right.
About to whip up some tacos, and I grab what I think is salsa.
Oh.
Turns out it's cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce on tacos. That's a culinary adventure.
Right. Thankfully, I caught myself before the cranberry chaos ensued.
Oh, I'm relieved your taste buds survived.
Speaking of surviving,
Yeah.
how are you planning to ring in the new year? Anything wild and crazy?
Nah, keeping it low-key this year.
But before we get lost in the countdown,
Yeah.
we have a very special deep dive planned for tonight, all thanks to one of our awesome listeners.
Ooh, a listener-inspired deep dive. I'm intrigued.
Micky, one of our longtime listeners and an old friend of the show.
Sounds like Micky's been paying attention.
We're talking cultural commentary, the wild world of online discourse, even the role of influential figures like Elon Musk.
Those are some pretty meaty topics.
Yeah. It's Sam Hyde's message to Elon Musk.
Oh, wow. That's definitely an interesting one to tackle on New Year's Eve.
I know, right? It's not exactly your typical festive conversation.
No, not at all.
But hear me out. I mean, who expects a comedian, the one known for his, let's say, outlandish stunts,
Right.
to suddenly get all serious and deliver this kind of message to one of the biggest names in tech?
That's true. It's definitely unexpected.
And it's gotten people talking. A lot of people.
I bet. So what do you think made it so attention-grabbing?
Well, for starters, it's Sam Hyde. We're talking about the guy who's known for pushing boundaries and, sometimes even crossing the line.
Yeah, his humor can be pretty out there.
Exactly. But then he drops this message to Elon Musk, and it's like, boom, a complete shift in tone. It's serious, it's thought-provoking, and it's got people questioning.
Questioning what?
Everything. Like where we're headed as a society, the role of technology in our lives, and the increasing divide between the tech elite and everyone else.
Ah, I see. It's like he's using his platform to make a statement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And whether you agree with him or not, you can't deny that he's raising some important points.
So you sent me a bunch of stuff about this, right? Articles, videos, even some heated forum discussion?
I did. I went down the rabbit hole on this one.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to see how polarizing this whole thing is.
Oh, I'm sure. It's Sam Hyde we're talking about.
Right. Some people think he's a genius, others think he's lost it. But that's what makes this so interesting. It sparked this huge debate about the future of tech work, American culture.
And you're saying it's all because of this one message to Elon Musk?
It's the catalyst. It's forced us to confront some really challenging questions about the direction we're heading in.
Okay, I'm ready to dive in. But
Yeah.
before we do, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, right? Sam's language can be pretty provocative.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
He doesn't shy away from controversy.
and even uses some terms that are just straight up offensive.
Right, and we want to be clear that we don't condone any kind of hateful or discriminatory language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to understand the context of his style.
Yeah, like you said, he's known for pushing boundaries. And his humor often relies on shock value and satire.
Right. It's like he's trying to expose hypocrisy and double standards by exaggerating them to the point of absurdity.
Exactly. He wants to make you uncomfortable, make you think. And sometimes that involves using language that some might find offensive.
It's a risky strategy for sure, but sometimes it takes a bit of a shock to wake people up.
I think that's what he's aiming for, to shake us out of our complacency and force us to look at the uncomfortable realities that we might otherwise ignore.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. What are Sam's main arguments here?
Well, one of the first things he tackles is the H1B visa program.
Oh, that's a hot button issue.
It is. And it's at the heart of a lot of anxieties about globalization and the future of work.
Right, because people are worried about losing their jobs to foreign workers.
Exactly. And Sam's message taps into that fear.
So for our listeners who might not be familiar with the H1B program, can you give us a quick rundown?
Sure. So basically, the H-1B visa program allows U.S. companies to hire highly skilled foreign workers,
Okay.
usually for jobs in fields like tech and engineering.
So like software developers, engineers, those sorts of roles.
Exactly.
Oh.
And the idea behind it is that if a company can't find a qualified American worker for a specific position, they can bring someone in from abroad to fill that gap.
So it's supposed to be about keeping the U.S. competitive in the global market.
Right, because we need those specialized skills to stay ahead.
But what's Sam's issue with the program?
Well, he argues that it's being abused by corporations.
Abused how?
He says they're using it to bring in cheaper labor and undercut American wages.
Oh, so he's saying it's not really about filling skills gaps, but more about cutting costs.
Exactly. He claims that some companies are laying off American workers and replacing them with H1B visa holders who are willing to work for less.
That's a serious accusation.
It is. And he even cites specific examples like Cognizant, a major IT consulting firm that's been accused of discriminating against American workers.
Oh, wow. And what about this Apple settlement? I saw something about that online.
Yeah, Apple had to pay a $25 million settlement for allegedly favoring foreign workers over qualified Americans.
See, that's what makes this whole issue so tricky.
Right. It's not as simple as saying all H-1B visas are bad or all companies are exploiting the system.
There are definitely nuances to it.
But Sam's message is tapping into a very real fear that a lot of people have.
The fear of being replaced.
Exactly. The feeling that the system is rigged against them.
And that their jobs are being shipped overseas.
And it's not just about immigration, it's about fairness.
Right. It's about who benefits from economic growth and who gets left behind.
Exactly.
It's about feeling like you're losing control over your own destiny.
And that's a powerful sentiment.
It is. And it's one that politicians and pundits often exploit.
Oh, yeah. They tap into that fear and anger to advance their own agendas.
Exactly. So while Sam's message is definitely provocative, it's important to remember that he's a comedian. Yeah. His goal is to make people laugh and think.
Right. Not necessarily to offer concrete policy solutions.
Exactly. But I do think he raises some valid points about the need for fairness and balance in our economic system.
Okay, so we've talked about the H-1B visa issue.
Yeah.
What else is Sam bringing up in his message to Elon?
Well, he also delves into this idea of cultural replacement.
Oh boy, that's a touchy subject.
It is, and I want to tread carefully here.
Me too. It's easy to get into dangerous territory when discussing these kinds of topics.
Absolutely. But I think it's important to understand where he's coming from, even if we don't agree with his approach.
Okay, so what's his argument about cultural replacement?
Basically, he's expressing concern that America is losing its cultural identity.
As in,
he's worried that the rapid pace of demographic change is creating a sense of alienation among some Americans.
Because they feel like their country is becoming unrecognizable.
Exactly. And he's not alone in feeling this way.
I've heard similar sentiments from people I know.
Right. It's a complex issue with deep historical roots.
And it's often intertwined with economic anxieties as well.
Absolutely. Because when people feel like their way of life is threatened,
they tend to look for scapegoats.
Exactly. And immigrants often become the target of that frustration.
So it's not just about culture, it's about power dynamics and who gets to define what it means to be American.
Right. And I think Sam's message is tapping into that sense of unease and uncertainty that a lot of people are feeling.
But isn't America supposed to be a melting pot of different cultures?
Ideally, yes. That's the promise of the American dream.
That anyone can come here and build a better life for themselves and their families.
Regardless of their background.
But the reality is often more complicated than that.
It is. There are systemic barriers and prejudices that make it harder for some groups to succeed.
And those challenges can create resentment and division.
Exactly. So while the idea of a multicultural society is appealing, it requires a conscious effort to create a truly inclusive and equitable system.
One that values diversity while also fostering a sense of unity and belonging.
And that's a delicate balance to strike.
It is. Yeah. And it's one that we're still grappling with as a nation.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got the H-1B visa issue and the cultural replacement argument.
What else is on Sam's mind?
Well, he also takes on this whole China rivalry thing.
Oh, yeah, the tech race between the U.S. and China.
Exactly. He seems to be questioning this narrative that we constantly need to be competing with them.
Especially when it comes to technological advancements.
Right. He's like, why are we so obsessed with outdoing China?
When we have so many pressing issues here at home.
Exactly. Like poverty, inequality, climate change.
So it's like we're so focused on winning this imaginary race.
Yeah, we're neglecting our own backyard.
He uses this example of China's drone displays.
Oh, yeah, I saw this video. It's pretty impressive.
They are. But also kind of pointless.
In a way, yeah. It's like, okay, you can make a bunch of drones light up the sky in fancy patterns.
But how does that actually benefit society?
Right. It's a lot of flash with not a lot of substance.
And Sam's arguing that maybe we've become too fixated on these superficial displays of technological prowess.
Instead of focusing on the things that actually matter.
Like improving people's lives, addressing inequality, creating a more sustainable future.
Exactly. He's calling for a shift in priorities.
From competition to cooperation.
From technological dominance to human well-being.
It's a powerful message.
It is. And it's one that I think resonates with a lot of people.
Especially those who are feeling left behind by the rapid pace of technological change.
Right. So I think it's worth taking a moment to consider what Sam's message means for us.
As individuals and as a society.
Because the future is not preordained.
It's something we create.
Through our choices, our actions, and our values.
So let's make sure we're creating a future that benefits everyone.
Not just the privileged few.
It's like we're standing at a crossroads.
Yeah, with multiple paths ahead of us.
And we need to choose wisely.
Exactly. Because the decisions we make today will shape the world of tomorrow.
So what do you think? What's the biggest takeaway from Sam's message?
That's a tough one. There are so many layers to it.
Yeah, he covers a lot of ground.
He does, but I think if I had to distill it down to one key message, it would be this. We need to be more mindful of the human cost of progress.
The human cost.
Yeah, like all those people who are being left behind by the rapid pace of technological change.
Ones who are losing their jobs, their livelihoods, their sense of purpose.
Exactly. And it's not just about economics, it's about culture, identity, community.
It's about feeling like you're no longer a part of something.
Like you're being replaced or forgotten.
And that's a recipe for social unrest.
It is. We're already seeing signs of that all over the world.
So what can we do about it?
Well, for starters, I think we need to have more honest conversations about the trade-offs of progress.
Like acknowledging that there are winners and losers.
And that not everyone benefits equally from technological advancements.
We also need to invest in solutions that address these challenges, like education and training programs that help people adapt to the changing job market.
Right, and social safety nets that provide a cushion for those who are struggling.
And maybe most importantly, we need to foster a sense of empathy and solidarity.
Yeah. We need to remember that we're all in this together.
That the well-being of one person is connected to the well-being of all of us.
Exactly. So as we head into 2025...
Yeah, brand new year.
Let's make a resolution.
What kind of resolution?
A resolution to be more mindful of the human impact of our choices.
To use our voices and our actions to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
And to never forget that progress is only meaningful if it serves humanity.
Beautifully said. I couldn't agree more.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. And to all of you listening out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We appreciate you being here.
And don't forget to check out our friend Micky's YouTube channel, Mickytolife.
He's got some great travel vlogs, all sorts of fun stuff.
He's too true original.
He is. So from both of us here at Sip and Talk,
we wish you a very happy and fulfilling 2025.
Happy New Year, everyone.